Dr. Lewis, in your experience regarding cognitive support, what aspects of brain function do brain supplements primarily target?
Like, for example, in our research, unfortunately, we didn't have the ability to do cerebral spinal fluid analyses. We were actually looking at some of the biomarkers that we looked at in the blood. So you can kind of make the argument that those are on the periphery as opposed to being locally evaluated, but nonetheless, they're still very good surrogates. So what I think is really crucial is, one of the things, and obviously this isn't really for, children or even young adults for that matter. I mean, most people at that age are not really having issues with cognition, but certainly once you hit around middle age, and then of course through the remainder of life, it's so important to prevent this protein buildup. And that's one of the hallmarks, if you will, of maybe not necessarily Alzheimer's disease, but certainly, many different types of problems related to both the brain and the central nervous system. So making sure our microglia, these are the cells that are kind of like the macrophage in the immune system. The microglia are like you can look at them as like our little garbage trucks. They're going through the brain and they're cleaning up debris and they're pulling that stuff out and they're making sure all the neurons are working properly. So it's very important for our microglia and all the other neurons to be functioning properly. So again, when you think of things that can cross the blood-brain barrier and get into these different cells, well, what do they need? Again, it goes back to different types of vitamins, minerals, different types of phytonutrients. I mean, all these things are very important in keeping all the different types of cells in our brain functioning properly, because all the cells ultimately create our brain, and that's what really is us. And so we don't want to have any aspect of our brain not functioning properly. But I think when you look at, again, going back to some of our research and showing that in response to a polysaccharide formula, we actually had our stem cell production increased by just under 300%. Wow. So you're talking about the ability of the stem cells to migrate out, in this case with people with Alzheimer's disease, to migrate out to the brain and be able to repair that damage, create new neurons, create new synapses, enable the microglia to do their jobs better. I mean, all these different things are so fascinating. And I think this is where research is so ripe for continued discovery, and especially, and I'm not talking about pharmacology, of course, I'm talking about with nutrition, to be able to continue showing how nutrition benefits the brain and all the different types of cells in the brain.